Hello everyone, welcome to Really Good Beer and Sports, Really Good BS, or RGBS, whatever you want to call us. I am co-host Dylan Jenkins along here with Jake Reichel. Jake, how you doing?
What's happening, dog? How was you?
Living the dream, the American
Solid.
dream. Also here with us we have Bill.
Salutations.
And Wade.
How we doing, everybody?
Pretty good, Wade. Alright, otherwise known as Wade. Alright, so here on Really Good Beer and Sports, our plan is to talk about beer and sports.
Oh.
It's revolutionary, I know.
Oh.
I know.
Some people's favorite things.
Some people's favorite things.
Some of mine, at least.
Just really good BS.
Yes.
That's all it is, man.
Alright, welcome to episode 1. First up, it's a fun time of the year. We've got different seasons starting, some seasons ending, and obviously football season in the mix. First up, let's talk a little bit about the NBA. The NBA season's getting kicked off, and I think, Jake, you might have some predictions for us.
Yeah, I think basketball is going to happen. It's definitely something I feel very strong about. Obviously, we got LeBron in LA, but I'm really confident that basketball will happen.
0-3.
Hey, you got to win some to lose some.
Okay. All right, that's very good insight from Jake Reichel. Wade, how about you? Anything going on NBA prediction-wise?
Prediction-wise, the West really hasn't changed all that much. And with, the Lakers at an 0-3 start, it's hard to say maybe, are they in the mix still? LeBron?
Of course they are.
Of course.
Of
It's
course they
LeBron.
are.
What are we going to do? What else are you going to say?
I think what the home opener, LeBron played like LeBron, and the rest of the team was like
Just
1 for 16 from 3.
It was more admiring.
I'm exaggerating,
LeBron
but
at
yeah.
the time, but
yeah.
still, a typical team is plus the Lakers now in the West. And the East, probably more wide open than it used to be, with LeBron not in the East anymore. But probably still Celtics. Sixers are up there. Probably throw in Milwaukee. They're in the East, right?
Oh yeah. The Greek freak. I'm looking at it on paper, and I think as much as I want the Sixers to win it all, I probably put them third in the East, which means they're not really going to do much, right? So it's the West, and then there's the 1 or 2 from the East. I like to think that I don't like to think, but I think that the Warriors and Celtics will be your finals, and obviously the Warriors come out on top.
I can get down with that. Yeah.
It's very West Coast.
The real finals is in the West.
Yeah. How did the Sixers do tonight, Jake?
Pulling it up right now. Looks like we got about 3 minutes left. 110. It's a nail biter right now. I think highlight of the night is Blake Griffin over Joel Embiid. Posterized.
It is posterized.
Depends on your definition of a highlight. That sounds like a low light to me.
A low light.
Trust the process,
Sixers
Jake.
fan.
Yeah. So kind of frustrating start to the season for the Sixers. Obviously, with Ben Simmons already missing a game, he's not playing against the Pistons tonight.
Who didn't see that coming though?
Me.
Okay. I don't think any of us saw it, and we don't want to see that happen to the Sixers at all.
So what else? We're taking a look around at the NBA. Obviously, it's a fresh start to the season. Those early season games, they don't really. I don't want to say that they don't matter, but it's really not where teams are hitting their strides. So to speak.
I think the biggest thing we can take out of especially preseason going into regular season now, Jimmy Butler over in Minnesota there.
The Timberwolves.
Yeah, I believe. I think I looked it up. It was about 22 mil this year is what his salary is. Was in that great draft class from 2011.
He was the 30th pick.
Yeah. Kind of. It's something that a lot of people don't really realize, that there is talent that deep in an NBA draft. It looks like I believe at the beginning he didn't want to play for Minnesota just because the West became so competitive with LeBron.
Sure.
I think he wanted to go to an Eastern team. Miami, I believe, is the one he was trying to go down to.
I think he longs for the days that he was an okay player on a bad team.
Yeah, I think carrying the load, being a big fish in a small pond, is kind of where he wants to be, not the small fish in a big pond and look down on.
Essentially wants to be the guy.
The guy, the man.
The man.
It looks like it's been nothing but locker room drama. I know he's been outright about everything. I know the home opener, he got booed coming out.
Sure.
Goes on to drop 33 points, went 10 for 12, and quickly changed MVP chance.
He went from explosions and yelling at coaches and telling them that they're terrible to dropping 33, getting called an MVP, and posting Harvey Dent quotes. What a week for Jimmy Butler.
It's ironic how winning can be a cure-all to some small issues.
Oh yeah. Just straight up looking ahead, Wade, give me your prediction. Traded before the deadline, yes or no?
Yes.
Jake?
I'm going bold here. I'm saying yes, and he's going to Toronto.
Ooh, Toronto with Kawhi. I'm also going to go yes, and I think the Rockets are in the mix there. Yeah. So obviously they need one more piece to get over their
Up in the
hump.
air for me, but I definitely see him getting traded.
Another big piece that recently came out. I don't know if you guys saw that brawl between Rondo and Chris Paul there.
Yeah.
Some more stuff has been coming out. Apparently Chris Paul called Rondo a turtle, which prompted Chris Paul to spit in his face
And poke his eye out.
poke his eyes because Captain Insano shows no mercy.
He sure doesn't. All right. Well, that's the buzz around the NBA to get started in these early goings, and we'll obviously keep an eye on it there, and hopefully the Sixers prove us all wrong or right, I guess, depending on your opinion. We'll move on from there. Some other big news. We've got a pretty big fight coming up. I know we're fresh off a pretty big one, and I'm sure we'll dive into that. But we definitely are going to be interested in hearing about the Cormier versus Lewis fight that is coming up at the beginning of November. Cormier, 21-1. He has one loss and one no contest. Realistically, it's two losses to John Jones. The no contest was the fight where John Jones failed a drug test.
Juice!
I don't know about you guys, but I certainly think that Cormier is just looking for a few fights before he retires, and he wants no part of a third John Jones fight.
Not at all. Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of digging around a little bit to kind of see what's going on. This is kind of peeking into the future a little bit, especially with Cormier. From what it kind of seems like is at this next one, UFC 231. 230. Lesnar's going to be in attendance for it, and the implication there is that if Cormier wins, it'll be a Cormier-Lesnar fight, probably around March or April, something like that.
So I can figure out who Brock Lesnar will lay on top of for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Exactly, and it's funny because with the weight classes, with the heavyweights topping out at 265, Cormier, he fights at about 235 because he balances the light heavyweight. But someone like Lewis or Lesnar, they actually struggle to get down to 265, which is one of those things where it's just all that weight, like Bill said there, just they use it to their advantage. You got 30 pounds on someone, 30 pounds over half an hour can be a huge difference.
He's a strong guy.
And he's an interesting fighter, bouncing between weight classes very successfully. He actually was funny. He helped at the end of the aftermath of that Khabib fight. But Lewis, actually looking at his stats, he's 21-5. Looking at his record, he's obviously coming off that big win where his balls were roasting hot. He defeated. That's right. He defeated Alexander Volkov, which actually I don't think very many people expected.
It was looking really rough during the fight itself up until he landed one.
He was definitely going to lose that fight for
and
sure.
And that's what he is. I don't see him beating Cormier.
Nah.
He's an electric interview, and he's a likable guy. I'm certainly pulling for him, and I'm Team Lewis based on that post-fight interview or the one.
I mean, he sold me. I wasn't on board until obviously when he won that fight, which was impressive, but then the balls were hot.
When the balls get hot, you just got to move on.
I mean, that's what he's going to have going for him against Cormier. Hot balls. You just assault him fat. You should be all right.
Listen, key to success, post victory speech, balls, temperature, beautiful, magic,
beauty,
it's magic,
thing of beauty. Also, looking back on Lewis's record, he actually has not been a champion in any fighting administration since 2013 when he was in Legacy.
Interesting.
So it would be a big come up for him to become the heavyweight champion. But we shall see. I definitely don't expect him to win.
No, I'm definitely looking forward to the fight just because I'm not saying lightning can't strike twice with those lucky haymakers. But again, you're going up against a technical fighter, up against a ground striker, and just really interesting matchups that are great to watch. But something also too, what I was kind of reading into, I don't want to say reading between the lines here, but a statement Cormier put out that it looks like if he does lose this, as you were alluding to, because he's a multi.
He holds 2 belts.
Yeah. He's just going to drop down to his 205.
Oh, sure.
Just hang out there.
Just finish out his career in light heavyweight, which makes sense to me. Now, obviously, this fight is going to be overshadowed by the Khabib-McGregor nonsense, we'll call it.
Yes, good.
Still waiting to find out suspensions, fines, if someone's going to be kicked out of the UFC. There's a lot going on there. Dana White, in very Dana White fashion, has basically said everything's fine and don't pay attention to the media, which, hey, it's 2018. Just say don't pay attention to the media and everything's fine.
Yes.
Right? I mean,
that's how things work, right?
That's just how they work
now. Here's the question. Can you say this gentleman's name?
I will give it a shot. Zubara Tugagov.
No, that's
close enough.
I mean, I got Zubaira. Yeah, man, I'm just gonna call him ZT from now on. I feel like ZT is just a much cooler name for him.
You know what? You heard it here first. Really good BS. We BS'd his name.
Yes.
But yeah, something that really came out of that. For those of you who didn't actually see what happened or what happened, there was a scuffle at the end of the Khabib-McGregor fight. I'm sure everybody knows about. But ZT was actually one of 3 fighters who threw strikes and landed blows on McGregor inside the ring.
Yeah, from behind.
Essentially, it's a very dirty move. It's not something you want to promote within your
promotion,
your promotions, your show you're putting on. It's too WWE. It's too emotions were involved. It's not something you want. It's
it's funny. I mean, everything about McGregor is sell, sell, sell.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's a good quote.
All right. Well, this what I'm reading here is actually the article is referring to a response from Khabib, because earlier this morning McGregor had posted basically a breakdown of his fight where he thought he went wrong, things he thought he did right, and basically how he didn't have enough respect for Khabib's standing game, and I think too much or less respect for something that he did. I don't remember exactly how he phrased it, whatever, but like Khabib commented himself, it's only business, which is funny because that's what McGregor was saying in the fight. But to Dylan's point is that's what McGregor is. He is all...
He's a showman.
He's all self-promotion. He's all the dollar. He's the kind of guy that doesn't leave a dollar on the table.
There's a reason no other UFC fighter has ever made the kind of money that he makes.
How many UFC fighters have had companies that they run that were sponsoring the fight where they were the main card? I mean, the main fight on the card, I should say.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's the first.
I can think of one. A certain Irishman who's got his own whiskey.
Just saying.
But yeah, it's definitely, it mars the fight, and obviously McGregor looked gassed, and maybe he should have had a fight in between this one. But I'll certainly be looking forward to a Khabib-McGregor 2 if they have it.
Yeah, I do feel, even though it was not a true title match in the sense that, that one of them was truly fighting for a title, or a title defense, it is something I would love to see, just a straight rematch. Let's see it right again.
Yeah,
let's go at it.
And I think this situation is going to overshadow the UFC up until either of them fight again.
Yeah. Especially going as far as it's just some of the things that are coming in and out, and it's actually ironic talking about the showmanship and everything. But your boy there, Khabib, actually wants to fight Mayweather now.
I did see that. Certainly not my boy though.
Hey, listen,
I'm Team McGregor all the way. I'm not gonna hide my bias.
I'm gonna say he's a lot of a
couple shamrocks tattooed on me here.
It's ironic. I guess he went to the Russian Boxing Federation, guaranteed 100,000 spectators. Pretty much the same talk we've been hearing for years between those two, but it's coming up on, is it something that's going to happen? And then you got to look on Mayweather's side of it, where it's a lot of talk right now. It's a lot of...
it's kind of weird. I feel like it's time. You know what I feel like it's time for? A little bit of Jersey Jake. Jake, you sound like you want to rant.
Listen,
fire away.
I got an issue.
Ladies and gentlemen, here comes Jersey Jake's rant of the week.
Here's one of the big problems I got, all right? And we are going to segue in between UFC, and we're going to go into the wrestling a little bit here. But one of the greatest female fighters, if not the greatest female fighter of all time the UFC's ever seen, combat sports has ever seen, Ronda Rousey. she's been kind of in the wrestling scene lately. She's really kind of getting her feet underneath of her. She's kind of taking that Roddy Piper approach with Rowdy Rousey, if you will. But one thing that was really, really irritating, but also kind of cemented her legacy, was seeing her go up against the Bella Twins. Not only was she going out there on her own up against a tag team, but seeing her go out there, hold her own, and these bitches had the audacity to talk shit, saying they broke down more doors. They are the role models for women. They're this, they're that. And honestly, I couldn't think of a better comeback than the words that came out of Rousey's mouth, which was directed right at Nikki Bella. There was the only door you ever broke down was the one to John Cena's bedroom.
Ooh.
I'm telling you, that legitimized everything she has in the WWE. That small transition.
These are wrestlers, right?
Yeah. Believe it or not.
He just said legitimized and wrestler in the same sentence. just while we're on the subject.
And then recently, which just happened, last night during Raw, signing one of their fake contracts kind of dealios. The Bella Twins again come out, again a 2-on-1 kind of thing, and literally slapped the shit out of Rousey and taking the high road here because she's going to take the championship belt away from them. She calmly just looked at him and said, "Next Sunday, it's on. It's on." I loved it. I love seeing
That says, I believe they say in the WWE now, is whatever is best for business. So,
hey, there you go. Wrestling is still a thing. Rousey versus someone named Nikki Bella. And Joyzy Jake got his rant out for the week.
Fantastic.
So I'm happy for you, Jake. Tune in weekly to hear a delightful rant by our Jersey native, Jake. All right, well, I think now is as good a time as any to dive into the subject that we're all most passionate about, unless you count beer. There's certainly a lot of passion there to go around. But I think we're in the heat of the NFL season. We're getting about halfway through. I can't believe it's already here.
We're getting into do or die time.
Yeah, we're on week 8 of the NFL season.
So halfway through.
What's we're about the halfway.
Yeah, about the halfway point of the NFL season, not including the playoffs, obviously. But we've learned a lot, I think, in these first 7 weeks. And thing I think we should all point out. Looking back on week 7, I bet we all have a favorite thing. I'm willing to bet.
There wasn't a lot to be favored, I think.
If you're an Eagles fan,
you're an Eagles fan for sure.
You probably didn't have a great week.
You guys played a great 55-minute game. It was wonderful. You had it.
First of all, 50 minutes. There were 10 minutes left on the clock when they scored.
It was very Atlanta Falcons-ish, if you will.
Depressing. Well, let's not steer towards the negativity. Let's all talk about our favorite thing in the NFL.
I can tell you my favorite thing of the NFL this week is moving past week 7, and I'm looking forward to next week in London.
Absolutely.
That's definitely something that I'm looking forward to. Jacksonville, as we know, plays game, and they're going to play a game there until 2020. The owner has
up until they move.
The owner bought Wembley Stadium, in which they play.
No, it was denied.
Well, whatever.
Yeah, Shad Khan withdrew his bid. They weren't letting him do it.
Nah, fam.
But so they're playing there, and it's something that they are 3-1 in London the past 4 games.
What about prior to that?
Riding a 3-game winning streak.
Sorry, I had to.
It's okay. It's but something going into this, it's definitely something I'm looking forward to. It's going to be a wonderful game against the reigning Super Bowl champs, but it doesn't matter because it's a new year, new season. We don't look to the past.
Absolutely. I think it's a beautiful thing to look forward to. Now, I do have to point out that coming into the season, this was a ticket draw and a half. The AFC runner-up versus the Super Bowl champion, a Super Bowl preview potentially, and
then they just stopped.
And then the season happened.
And they just decided to not be good teams.
But I guess that's why they play the games. Bill, how about you? What was your favorite thing of the week?
I don't know if it was a favorite thing actually in the NFL itself, but when I was I was walking towards Xfinity and a girl asked me if I had marijuana. That was pretty funny. She used that word. I'm not, just being facetious.
There you go. So, hey, ladies, don't judge a book by its cover.
I know, right?
That's so rude.
Listen, she was just looking for a good time. I was sorry I couldn't help.
And now if you're curious, check us out on YouTube. Then you'll see the appearance of one William.
Maybe. I don't know. not really in the shot.
There you go.
Anyway, but like, I was
More to come.
I was absolutely looking forward to this particular game coming up, and it's going to lose some of its luster in that they haven't performed as well as people were expecting. Like you said, Super Bowl champ versus AFC runner-up. That made that game so much bigger. Like, we were planning on going to London until the ticket prices became outrageous. And they're like, you know what? That on top of, obviously, the flight and the flight back and all that stuff.
I believe was it your wedding day, I believe, or the weekend of is when tickets when Philly released tickets.
They went on sale. And
those bleeds were $600.
They were like $600 per seat. Add round trip flight and hotel to that, and you're looking at one costly trip to see the Jaguars lose.
I mean, especially at this point. I mean, what are we really watching?
Cody Kessler?
I mean, it was going to stay a costly trip to watch the Jaguars lose anyway.
That's true.
At this point, it's a blessing in disguise, if you will.
So, and for those who don't know, Jake is obviously a Jaguars fan, surrounded by 3 Eagles fans.
That's all right. I mean, it's just something you live with up north here.
There you go. How about you, Wade? How about a favorite thing of the week, week 7?
Favorite thing of the week? I probably can't pick out anything of the week, but as of the season, Adam Thielen. Probably been my favorite player to watch.
Big Thielen.
Big Thielen fan.
Yeah, let's get into that. That's a good one to talk about. 7 straight 100-yard games. He's now 1 game away from tying Calvin Johnson's record of 8 games consecutive of 100 yards in the same season.
Little Megatron.
He's white lightning.
White lightning.
White lightning out there. He's a great story, too. I mean, I always loved the great story of Larry Fitzgerald, growing up in Minnesota, being a ball boy in Randy Moss's early years, Chris Carter, all that. Obviously, he went on to some pretty great things. He's still kicking down there in Arizona, but probably this is going to be his last year. But Adam Thielen's another great story. He grew up in Minnesota, grew up outside of Minnesota, was a walk-on in college in Minnesota. And,
undrafted.
Through and through, undrafted, just wasn't even invited to the combine, if I remember correctly.
He was not.
And look at him now. And talk about a bargain of a contract.
Yeah,
Unreal.
Absolutely.
So, okay, yeah, I like it, Wade. Wade with a favorite thing of the week. Adam Thielen, a little positivity for us here. A little down on the Eagles.
Doing it for the white guys.
There he goes. So my favorite thing of the week was getting back out there to tailgate. I actually got out there with Wade, and Bill joined us later. It was actually my first tailgate of the season, and it's a little late in the season.
Late, man. It's late.
Yeah, for a first tailgate of the year. But life comes at you fast, and it's easy to get busy. So it's always a pleasure to see Eagles fans out tailgating. And one of the things that I love most when we're up at the stadium or up tailgating near the stadium is seeing the Eagles fans truly defy the stereotypes. I want to pound the table for. I've never been at an Eagles game where I've seen a fan from an opposing team get beat up or truly destroyed or anything bad happens to them.
Yeah. No batteries thrown at you.
No batteries, nothing like that.
No beers poured on you.
My wife is actually a Panthers fan, and she wore her Panthers jersey. And then we had someone pull up at the tailgate next to us wearing a Panthers jersey. So plenty of Panthers fans to go around. Not a whole lot of harassment. Obviously, there's going to be some ribbing. But, we're not throwing beers on anybody like those fans up in New England.
Yeah, so even when we were up there for the conference championships, just, tailgating for the AFC, and then,
we might boo them a little.
Right, we boo them and kind of, cuss them.
And Jimmy Butler.
Right, even if you account for all the stories that people could come up with, the bottles being thrown, the people with the signs about Millie, all those people put together, you're talking about maybe a few dozen out of how many thousands of people? It's less than 1%. I'm with you. The stereotypes.
Yeah.
I don't want to just say they bother me, but they aren't reality.
They're there and they're not reality. And again, Philly fans continue to defy those stereotypes. I love it. I love tailgating in Philly. I've tailgated a few stadiums now in my lifetime, and I got to say, I am a little bit biased, but no one tailgates like the Eagles fans.
I agree.
Penn State fans are pretty hardcore too, though.
This is true.
Get out to Beaver Stadium if you can.
All right. You know what I'm feeling?
Well, you got a rumor?
No. Now that we're talking football, some people died. Some people died to me. I have a strong emotional spectrum when it comes to the NFL.
R.I.P. fam.
R.I.P. fam. So you know what? I'm gonna tell you guys who died to me this week. So who wronged me so much that they are dead to me, and we'll see if they can earn their place back into the living. First and foremost, Sean Payton, dead to me.
Ooh.
You're giving Taysom Hill carries over Alvin Kamara. Dead to me. First of all, for those who don't know,
That's just bad business practice.
I'm a Vols fan.
That's the first time I've heard that name.
Grew up a Tennessee Vols fan, and to give the third string quarterback rushes over Alvin Kamara, terrible. Terrible. So Sean Payton, thank you very much. You're dead to me.
Kamara was such a breakout last year. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, no,
And he's been so great this year.
I literally almost cried when the Saints traded up and drafted him. Bill was at the draft with
Yeah,
me.
we were really hoping for Kamara. I know you certainly.
Oh
were.
yeah, I was so upset. So, but don't fret. The Josh Dobbs era in Pittsburgh's coming in hot. Heard it here first. All right, next up, number 2. Almost every single Eagles player and coach. And that's not an overstatement. That's an understatement.
Yeah.
When you blow a 17-point fourth quarter lead in the NFL, you have done something wrong.
Very wrong.
You've done many things.
Carson
wrong.
Wentz can't do everything, and when we just flat out stop calling plays to get to Zach Ertz when he's destroying the Panthers linebackers, shame on you, Dougie P. Go get some ice cream. Cool off. You're dead to me.
And even if I wanted to chew on Carson Wentz, and I did a little bit over some of his, I would consider poor decisions, irrespective of what the play actually was that was called. He still should have made a better decision.
Yeah, for sure.
He was still put. I agree. A lot of people will say he was put in a bad position. There was just so many mistakes made, and it starts with the coaching, and it was horrible.
Absolutely. Yes. No words for a 17-point blown fourth quarter lead. I don't have words for that. Another thing I don't have words for, my next up on Who's Dead to Me, John Gruden.
Ooh.
That man, I think he's dead to a lot of people. I think he's dead to Al Davis is going to get out of his grave soon and just punch him in the throat. He's going to get a heady throat punch coming in hot. I can't
No one
handle
can
it.
ruin the Raiders like me. Hold my beer.
I mean, not only, we'll get into trades in a little bit. I think we'll have a little segment on that. But the rumors of, they're now talking about trading Garyon Conley, Carl Joseph, and potentially Bruce Irvin. Good pass rushers are hard to find.
Very hard to find.
Last but certainly not least on Who's Dead to Me this week, my brother grew up a Broncos fan. While I have a little bit of love for the Raiders, and I got a lot of love for the Chiefs as I used to live out in the Midwest, the Broncos, I don't hate them. I hate the Chargers as far as that division goes. But got a little bit of love for the Broncos because I do love my brother. Chad Kelly is officially dead to me. You are a week or two away from earning a starting job from Mr. Irrelevant to starting. What do? You go and get arrested. Moron.
For something stupid, too.
Yeah, trespassing? You're a millionaire. We need a trespass for.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, so dead to me. So dead to me.
Believe you.
Whatever
walked-
blows your skirt up.
And you know what? He had such a prolific career through all the turmoil to finally turn around at Ole Miss, right? Turned around at Ole Miss. Probably the best quarterback they've had since Eli. And he lit it up. Obviously, he's Jim Kelly's nephew, so there's a little bit of prestige there, and obviously I want to see him do well. Always hoping for a good recovery for Jim Kelly, all the bouts with cancer he's going through. He was a great quarterback, led his team to 4 Super Bowls. You definitely want to see a guy like a Chad Kelly succeed. What does he do? He just blows chance after chance. Dead to me.
I mean, it is kind of funny, especially bringing that up because report was, just mumbling incoherently, walking around.
Obviously inebriated.
Just walked into someone's, house, sat down on the couch.
Chased him out.
Funny story too. They did give him a breathalyzer. He blew a 0.00. So
I didn't know.
Look out for one of those random tests. Look out for an NFL test coming your way.
Yeah, possibly a 4-game suspension. Dead to me. Yeah. Dead to me. Go from Mr. Irrelevant to a starter, and he has the talent. He has the pure talent to be a successful quarterback in the NFL. Obviously, Case Keenum's not the answer. Denver's in a rebuilding year.
For sure.
He has the chance to come in and earn a starting spot moving forward. What does he do? He gets arrested. Good for you, Chad. All right. Next up, I have a little topic that's near and dear to my heart. This came up in a conversation with my good buddy Jake here.
Yes.
We were looking at pictures of our kickers.
Oh, absolutely.
And I was admiring Jake Elliott's green suit. And it looks delightful. And that guy, you know what? Kickers are people too. Rich Eisen once said that punters are people too. But kickers are people too, okay? Kickers are people, all right? Shout out to those with the strong leg. Now, Jake's rebuttal to my photo of Jake Elliott was Josh Lambo looking like what only my wife could describe as a pedophile.
Listen,
So I want to lay this out to you guys. I have a question. Question that I want all three of you to answer for me. Josh Lambo, pedophile or no? Look at that mustache.
I mean, that's quality. That's quality stash right there.
I don't know. I need some input here.
Listen, he's either
thinking?
going for a role to be Superman, and that mustache is going to be digitally removed, or he's going
It's so bad.
or he's going to teach you he's going to teach you fencing or some sort of.
He looks terrifying. I would not let, if I'm out trick or treating, and if I took my imaginary child up to this person's doorstep, I would run.
Just abandon your imaginary child.
Yeah, it's
Let them
over.
be touched imaginarily.
It's over. It's over. I couldn't handle it. I don't know. What do you guys think?
He's a great man. I'd love to have a beer with and pick his mind on the finer details of kicking a ball.
Kickers are people too, Jake.
How young are the balls?
Oh.
Well,
I mean, I don't know. It's not a look that I would aspire to have.
He looks so creepy.
Yeah.
I can't handle it.
I enjoy
Obviously, not making light of what we're saying here. I'm just saying the guy looks creepy.
Very creepy. He looks like he lives by this phrase, if she 12, I'm 12.
Ooh.
There he goes.
There's grass on the field.
Ooh, too far. All right, where did I take us? Next up, it's that time of year. Over the past couple of years, we've really hit a nice stride in the NFL, kind of mimicking the NBA. I'm really excited about it. The trade deadline really brings about a lot of trades.
Definitely produces
Well,
a lot of
hold
headlines
on.
and a lot of clicks.
I mean, at the deadline, they make trades.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
Oh,
It's very NBA-esque. Don't mind the dog in the background.
something definitely that did recently happen. Jacksonville picked up Carlos Hyde, 5th round pick. Wonderful, by the way.
What a great value trade for the Jaguars.
I mean, listen, he's absolutely a 3rd round, 2nd round talent. He's someone who can dynamically change the backfield.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Catch out of the back, catch in the flat. It's
Health has been his enemy, but when healthy, he's been a top 20 running back. Absolutely.
Something else we had done was we had signed Jamal Charles. He is no longer with the team. He did not pan out. We had him for 2 games. But Carlos Hyde, I really feel like is going to step into into the offense, pick up right where he needs to be.
You didn't mention Leonard Fournette at all.
Well, I don't want to take a page out of your book, but this guy's
Is he on
he's
the
digging
trading
his own
block?
grave.
He is digging his own grave.
I believe something we
He's not on the
discussed.
trading block, I don't think.
Might could be.
Something we discussed, the other day at the bar. It's these soft tissue guys.
Yeah.
These injuries that happen. Oh, my leg hurt.
Yeah.
What do you mean? I got a bruise, or I got. You get X amount of dollars. Listen, unless it's broken or torn,
You got to ride it till the wheels fall
Yeah.
off.
you got to kind of play.
I know everyone, including myself, makes fun of that Jarvis Landry speech from Hard Knocks, and if you haven't seen it, please go YouTube it, because it is truly a player speaking from passion, and these are good guys, and
And he's speaking
when you
real,
see it,
though.
when you see a guy like that could be a role model for kids, it is a good thing. But it's contagious, bruh. It's contagious, bruh. Like, he's not joking. Like, these guys with the soft tissue injuries, it drives me insane. You're making millions of dollars. Play through it.
Listen, and I'm not trying to be all that in a bag of potato chips because I've eaten every bag of potato chips. I run out of breath putting my shoes on.
There are none left.
I'm just saying, when you're getting paid these millions of dollars, you've conditioned yourself your entire life, you've made it to the big show, and you're gonna let it cramp. You're gonna get a sore hamstring, hamper your career.
Never go full Jeremy Bloom.
That's on me. Like, I don't get paid millions of dollars. I get paid thousands of dollars, and have been to work with back pains and I couldn't stand until I had to go to the hospital.
I
Still
believe,
showed up.
in the NFL, it's just as true as our everyday life. There's always somebody right behind you. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So unfortunately for a guy like Fournette, availability is key, and Tom Coughlin doesn't play that.
Yeah.
he does not.
Neither does bologna sandwich eating Doug Marrone.
We saw what happened up in New York with that team and how just many players came and went.
He won't hesitate to get rid of you.
I will start 2 rumors. I'm going to start these 2 trade rumors.
Oh, here we go.
because I do believe they're coming true. I'm going to say Derek Carr to Jacksonville.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like a first round or a second round is suffice enough for that kind of level of talent.
The Jacksonville trade hour, I think, right?
Yeah. Now, unfortunately, if that doesn't go through, I'm starting this other one. I want Nick Foles.
It's funny you mention that. I actually have both of those on my list. Derek Carr to the Jags, I think, is a pipe dream for the Jags fans. That's obviously the best case scenario, but I think it's the least realistic.
Would he survive behind that offensive line?
Probably not.
He can't
Let's ask a Raiders fan. Does he?
He can't even survive behind Oakland's supposed to be good offensive line. So no.
The block of Swiss cheese.
To be fair, Oakland's offensive line was good coming into the season on paper, but now we're talking about two rookies starting.
Yeah.
To be fair,
obviously, Kalichi Asemele, really good player.
Only bright spot right now on that offense.
And maybe they'll have 3 more rookies starting out of the first round.
Rodney Hudson.
Possibly. Maybe we'll have an entire rookie. Oh,
Asemele is in Oakland, right?
Assembly, yes, he is in Oakland, yeah.
I'm missing that out. Just make sure I didn't misspeak.
Back to your trade.
Yeah, but hitting on the Nick Foles one, I actually think it could be a win-win for both teams.
Absolutely.
I truly think that if this week Bortles falters again, it might heat up. Kurt Warner, actually on NFL Network, literally begged Tom Coughlin, make that deal. Go get Nick Foles.
Yeah.
And I think that makes Jacksonville a winning team for the rest of the year. I really do. I know Nick Foles struggled in the preseason and, a little bit in the early season, but that's Nick Foles. He's a little bit streaky, but he's better than Blake Bortles. I mean,
for sure.
I think Wade might be better than Blake Bortles.
At this point, yeah.
I mean, he's definitely better than Blake, and I think he's a lot of it streaky, actually. But when he is on, as you saw throughout the playoffs and, of course, the Super Bowl last year.
And just looking at it on paper, it could make sense for both teams. The Eagles could clear the cap space needed for Fournette. By trading Nick Foles. Foles for Fournette straight up, or Foles and a fifth for Dante Fowler and Leonard Fournette. I think there's juice to it. Keep an eye on it. I'll kind of rattle off some names and some things that have happened. If it's all right. Eli Apple has been moved to the Saints. I'm actually really surprised at the value they got for him. They got multiple draft picks, so good for them, the Giants. I do hate the Giants, but what are you going to do?
They're in shambles. How much can you really pick on them at the moment?
First round pick, right? Eli Apple.
Eli Apple was I think he was the 10th overall pick in his draft. Yeah. So Landon Collins last year called him a cancer in the locker room. So we'll see if it works out for the Saints. Obviously, across from Marshawn Lattimore, you just need to be serviceable.
Yes.
Ken Crawley is not that. So they're moving on to Eli Apple. I would expect he's up and going in a few weeks.
He has all the athleticism and intangibles.
And he can cook.
And he can cook.
So, Amari Cooper moved to the Cowboys for a first-round pick. I'm very thankful for that. The Eagles reportedly had offered a second-round pick, which would have really upset me. Over his last 20 games, I don't think there's been a more ineffective number one receiver than Amari Cooper.
I'm pretty sure that if you were to go to 31 other teams in the NFL and offer a first-round pick for a wide receiver, you would get at least 8 to 10 better talented wide receivers than Amari Cooper.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I put my research to the test here. I went back every draft from this past year through 2000 all the way back to the Peter Warrick draft. Only 9 wide receivers contributed to a Super Bowl team, win or lose. Only 9 first-round receivers. Let me just correct that. Specifically drafted in the first round. 9. 9 guys out of 75.
Yeah.
That's insane. What does that tell me? Don't waste a first-round pick on a wide receiver.
Right.
The most recent was actually Nelson Aguilar, but there's obviously some mixed feelings there.
Right.
So, time to fire through. Lev Bell still hasn't reported to his team. Any trade value there? I don't think there's any trade value at this point with him not signing his tender. So I don't think trade rumors with him are really going to happen.
They've kind of stopped. Really, I haven't heard.
I believe he has said he's showing up after the trade deadline just because of reasons. He doesn't want to get traded. But also because he's waiting so long, I think there is something in the proviso where, depending on, I forget exactly which week it is, but if he doesn't show up soon, he's going to be locked in for another year in Pittsburgh.
There's some kind of mystical number between week 9 and week 10 where the Steelers could potentially hold him out for 2 weeks and ruin his chance at free agency.
Which, this entire holdout, just put another year on your body and, last I saw him, he was hanging out at the arcade giving quarters to children. So,
half a year, but still, and Well, I mean, a year of age.
Whole calendar year of age.
Yeah.
Unless he can.
I'm just talking about the
use
actual
black
physical.
holes.
Obviously, the physical wear and tear of playing the game is a whole other level of thing by itself. Is all I'm saying.
So, some other trade targets. I have quite a list here. I'll try to kind of rapid fire through them. If anyone wants to stop me, they sure can. LaShawn McCoy, I put stop it as my note.
Yes.
He's hurt again. He seems to get hurt every week. It's really frustrating, and I'm very happy that the Eagles will not be giving up compensation for him. Demaryius Thomas is floating out there. I think the Redskins, Titans, the Bills, I think they're a little less likely because he is 30, and obviously the Eagles are out there shopping for wide receivers.
Especially the emergence of Emmanuel Sanders there.
Definitely.
Who saw it coming, but it kind of pushed DT to the back, and as an owner of DT in 2 of my fantasy leagues, it hurts. It hurts.
Yeah.
I will not want to see him in Washington, though. I'll say that much.
Yeah.
I don't want to see them any better.
Patrick Peterson, today actually, it was reported that the Eagles have offered multiple high picks for Patrick Peterson, but the Cardinals don't seem to want to let him go. I think that he has actually officially requested his trade by the
deadline.
deadline.
Another rumor. Peterson to Jags.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
That's going to happen. You watch it.
So I think the Eagles, Saints, Jets, and Chiefs are teams to watch there. Obviously, it's just going to come down to will the Cardinals actually trade him? They have to be willing. I don't see any reason why they wouldn't. He's coming up on 30, I believe, and
contract might be coming up.
Yeah,
next season or is it
this year? 2? Yeah, he has this year, next year left on his
2 years.
contract. About $11 million cap hit if we make the trade. After that, I see Devontae Parker. His agent came out and blasted Adam Gase, which was kind of hilarious because Adam Gase he just comes off as kind of a jerk.
He looks like a jerk.
He was clearly wrong about Jay Ajayi, and I think he's put Devontae Parker in the same bucket.
You didn't put enough vowels in that name.
Ajayi!
Ajayi.
So, yeah, I think there's a lot of teams that would be interested in Devontae Parker for the right value. You know, anytime you can get a first-round talent in exchange for a 3rd, 4th, or 5th-round pick, obviously probably conditional, I think there's something to it. So I think that probably the most likely name on my list to get moved is Devontae Parker.
Yeah.
We mentioned Derek Carr, Nick Foles. I think Carl Joseph, we also mentioned. Tyrod Taylor is another name out there for the Jags.
Nope.
Jake feels strongly about that.
And I'm going to stop it real quick here. These Tyrod Taylors, these Colin Kaepernicks, these names here, stop it. We're paying Bortles. We have a contract on the books for about $54 million. We're not going to pay a high amount of money or any amount of money to go sideways.
This is true.
We have a semi-mobile quarterback who can't throw the ball far. All right, so these stupid
turnovers, Jake.
ideas,
Turnovers.
It just gotta stop. It's frustrating.
You wouldn't be interested in Dak Prescott then?
Absolutely not.
Yeah. Okay.
Throw the ball more than 10 yards.
Some other names out there: Amir Abdullah, LeGarrette Blount, with the emergence of Kerryon Johnson. Obviously, I think the Eagles could be interested in bringing Blount back for the right price. Kelvin Benjamin, I think he's a name that's going to be available at the deadline, but I don't think anyone's going to want him. Some clear attitude issues there. We talked Dante Fowler. Deion Buchanan, linebacker / safety hybrid. The problem there is you don't know his value because you don't know his position. He plays safety and linebacker. Another one that I think the Eagles could target at safety. And then last but certainly not least, definitely want to mention, we talked about Larry Fitzgerald. I think the name will come up. You know, I could just see a team like the Patriots making it worth the Cardinals' while if they can convince Fitz to move on out to New England.
I think Fitz is already in a good spot. He's already bought his retirement home out in Arizona. I don't think the old man's going anywhere. But
it's not likely, but it's fun to think about.
You know what would be funny? Or not funny, but what would be really cool is seeing him in a Patriots uniform just because of the revival that New England does to these old receivers.
Yeah. Well, we went a little over budget there, minutes-wise, on the NFL stuff, but definitely a lot of trade action happening, and what are you going to do?
Action
Can't wait
Jackson.
to see what happens. Jackson. So, in addition to the NFL and the NBA and the UFC and all the fun things going on, it's also hockey time.
Hockey time.
We're a table full of Flyers fans.
It is. It's a very good time right now in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I'll give 10 points to Fliffendor. See what I did there? If they can name the greatest thing to happen in the history of the NHL, it happened this year.
This year?
I know for a fact that for me, It was the new mascot.
It's Gritty.
It's Gritty.
It's 100%, 150% Gritty.
I have been kind of on and off watching the Flyers, because it's always a will they, won't they, how far they're going to get. Gritty, I'm all in on this. I'm 100%. I'm watching games every night. I'm checking stats. I'm invested in the 2018-2019 season here.
They dropped that Muppet from the ceiling. I've never been more excited.
And it's, I think the best reaction to this mascot was, NHL, like, here's Gritty, and Philly, what the hell is that? What is that? Bleep. What the hell is that? Philly quickly turns around. What'd you say about Gritty? This is about Gritty.
And your children for Gritty.
Woo! Last night actually was a giveaway, t-shirt giveaway. Gritty, his mug was all over it. A buddy of ours was there last night. He got his picture taken with Gritty. I'll tell you, it was just one of those things where apparently during the Mice on Ice game, which is when the children go out, Gritty he's very active with these games. He was out last night playing with them. High-sticked one of the kids, got put in the penalty box, and smashed his way out of the penalty box before time expired. Smashed the glass, climbed over the half thing there, and got back on the ice.
I just love it. I honestly, at this point, don't care what happens in the NHL this year, as long as Gritty exists.
I know I will definitely be attending some games. My goal is to get a picture with Gritty.
Oh, we have to.
I need to. It's. Ugh.
You're not gonna not. Like Gritty's an American hero.
I'm just happy that there is a colorful character to demonstrate to kids sportsmanship and
all the right values we're looking for.
All the right values, yeah.
So Gritty happened. We're all excited about it, and I'm definitely considering Gritty for next Halloween. Like, I kind of have to.
Absolutely. Something exciting too. Seeing last night, just a quick recap of last night's game. Unfortunately, we lost to the Avalanche. Colorado's a really great team, but we have defenseman Robert Haig. They split up Ghost Bear and Provorov. They're on separate lines now. They put Hag with Provorov, and that defensive line has definitely increased, and it looks like we have two solid lines that we can send out that definitely is going to help improve penalty kill, definitely help improve, helping defense get back with our goalie there.
Yeah.
Another Elliott, I believe.
Another Elliott. We have the Union, the Eagles, the Flyers. They've all got an Elliott.
Sixers. Get with it.
Yeah.
I
mean, they could bring in Jake Elliott. I bet he has hops.
He's a white man. He has.
See that green suit? Him and T.J. McConnell. Let's do this.
Oh yeah.
They're about the same height. So, Flyers predictions for the year, guys. What are we thinking? I'm worried that it'll be another middling season. Yeah. Do we make the playoffs? Do we not make the playoffs?
Well, it appears to be the way they started.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen it. Definitely not going to win division in the Eastern, but I definitely think we're going to be a wild card contender. Who's going to knock us out? I mean, New York's always there. Tampa's always ferocious, but I do think we're going to get to at least the second round of the playoffs.
Hey, you heard it here first. How about Stanley Cup? Anyone feel strongly? Throw out a prediction.
The only way we're
going for Nashville or Las Vegas
is if Gritty steals the Stanley Cup.
I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, we'd all be okay with it. But do you have any predictions about this particular year's Stanley Cup?
Golden Knights.
Yeah, Vegas. You always throwing in Pittsburgh.
Unfortunately. Ooh. Somebody feels strongly about a certain
player on Pittsburgh. You all know who it is.
Yeah. All right. Hey, you know what else is happening? There's a whole league that's coming to an end here.
World Series.
And no, we're not talking about the Union making the playoffs. We are talking MLB. The World Series is up on deck.
First game is actually going on right now.
I don't even want to talk about it. I despise one of the teams inside.
I think it's tied.
2-1 Boston at the moment.
3-3.
3-3. I'm sorry.
3-3.
Make that update. The Sixers did lose, by the way.
They did.
Yeah, by 1 point.
I absolutely despise the Dodgers. I hate everything they stand for. I despise them. I hope they all burn on a flight to Boston.
Wow, that's pretty intense. Speaking of which, my prediction is that the Dodgers will win the World Series.
My prediction is the Dodgers will burn on their way to Boston.
But I guess it doesn't really matter.
Either of these teams.
And we can pick up this debate in later shows. But we'll certainly go toe-to-toe on this one that the baseball is dying.
We should definitely save that for the actual baseball season.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, you've got to be able to look at maybe ratings as they're happening and that kind of stuff.
What ratings?
I agree.
Anywho,
they'd have to be there for you to see.
they'd have to have ratings for us to talk about them.
That is true.
All right, so really good BS, beer and sports. What's that B? What's that B? That B is beer. Beer.
For those of us who are checking out the YouTube channel, we do have a collection of beers in front of us. We've been kind of sipping on.
Not just beer. Special kind of beer.
It's the theme is a pumpkin. It's pumpkins for the fall time. We got a bunch out in front of us. We got a Leinenkugel Harvest Shandy. Always delicious. It tastes like pumpkin pie. I grabbed a pumpkin ale by Schleifly. Actually pretty tasty for what it is. Didn't exactly expect how soft it is for the ale, but not bad. We have a Blue Moon Harvest Pumpkin Wheat, which is a very softer on the wheat. Blue Moon has all those wheat beers. And
I'm a fan of that Blue Moon.
You would.
You eat that.
Pumpkin ale. Looks like pumpkins and spices.
Yeah, and I just gripped up here this Evolution Craft Brewing Company right down in Salisbury, Maryland, so not too far from us. Family owned, I might add, a Belgian style pumpkin ale, Jacques à Lanterne.
Ooh, sounds French.
It could be. So I'm a huge fan of pumpkin beer. I get giddy, early September when those, because earlier and earlier each year the pumpkin beers come out. I get really excited. It means it's football season. It means hockey's coming back. It means basketball's coming back. Trust the process. We get really excited. But yeah, we're gonna enjoy all these pumpkin beers. We definitely want to hit all of the breweries we can every year.
Absolutely.
So we look forward to that. I'm gonna give this a sip. My first ever sip of this beer.
One of my favorite things. I enjoy Leinenkugel in general as their beers. Down in Baltimore, they have a beer garden. Very similar. It's an outside area where everybody, there's music playing, games and stuff. Their beer garden actually has this Harvest Patch Shandy all year round. It's delicious.
I do like that Leinenkugel. I actually noticed that Bill has a rogue beer here, Imperial Pumpkin Smash.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Okay.
Another one that was with Jake's little 6-pack here is from a Crown Valley Brewing Company in Genevieve, Missouri. Missouri.
I used to live out there.
Yeah, an IBU of 48 and alcohol of 10.6%. It's a nice stout with pumpkin and spices. So it only has like a real hint of pumpkin taste. Obviously, pumpkin's not my thing to people who know me and my opinions on that. But this is actually pretty light on the pumpkin taste. It's there. I taste it. It's okay.
Bill's not basic.
He is not.
It is very stout, not heavy, but you can definitely feel the 10%.
Has a coffee-ish taste to it. That
if you want to call it that, sure.
Yeah. I'm a stout guy when it's below 30 degrees.
Leinenkugel
looks
makes a
good.
delicious stout. A snow porter.
I'm a stout guy when it's a day.
A day that ends in Y.
Ends in Y.
Ends in Y, sure.
So we're getting down on some beer. It's actually I see a contract on the table in front of me as we get down on our pumpkin beers here. Jake, do you want to talk a little bit about this contract?
I got this quite a couple years ago. Jokingly with a bunch of friends. We saw these commercials going around with Miller and Miller High Life, and I actually
remember those commercials.
Just kind of set my name in. Just kind of see what was going on. Ended up getting a contract for those of you on the YouTube channel checking it out. But it pretty much states that my responsibilities are to party hardy and live the high life. It is a legally binding contract. We are sponsored by, I am sponsored by Miller High Life. And, I'm actually going to pass it around because none of you guys believe me, so I'm going to let you guys check out the legal binding document. It's a great...
Bill's our consigliere. I'm going to see if you can find a date on here.
It's, like I said...
Dates relevant to contracts? Can be, unless, does this say the words in perpetuity on there?
It was something...
Limited time promotional offer begins at or about 12 a.m. Eastern time on 1/17/11 and ends at 11:59 p.m. Eastern on 4/30/11.
Ooh.
So you may have been...
You've been a free agent for a while.
Yeah, you've been a free agent for...
I'll tell you what.
7 years.
Miller, I'd love to come back. I'll give you the hometown discount. We can cut the contract price in half.
What was the price of this contract?
It was $1.
It was $1.
$1.
So 50 cents.
50 cents.
The saw will go
Two
down to
quarters.
50 cent. Otherwise, Line and Kugel, Schleifly, Blue Moon. Hit me up. I'm down. I'm down to clown.
Yeah. So one of the things, talking beer, we're having a good time here. I definitely want to point out it's one of our missions again to go to a lot of breweries. I just this last week went to one of our local breweries that I just definitely want to give a shout out to. It happens to be one of my favorites. We went to 2SP, Two Stones Pub. They have a brewery not too
Aston.
far in Aston, Pennsylvania. It's in Delaware County. Definitely worth a trip. Their beer, their tap room, it's nice and clean. They definitely have a great selection of beer all the time.
No food, but
They often have food trucks, but then this past week
Sure.
they actually had food coming out of the
no
back
kidding.
Interesting.
That's
for the
just
first
one of
time.
them.
For the first time since I've been there. Yeah.
I've been there a few times anyway, and I'm a fan of Bell Cracker. That's actually a rather good.
Their Bell Cracker Up and
good one,
Out, the
yeah.
Delco Lager, the 2S Pills.
yeah.
A lot of good beers coming out of 2SP,
Yeah.
and they're starting to really infect all of Delaware and Chester
Yeah,
counties.
Sure, yeah. I mean,
in
you'll definitely see
Pennsylvania.
Delco Lager in a lot of bars throughout at least this small section of the Delaware Valley, which is nice.
Yeah, great brewery, great employees there. You get some good food off the food trucks. I definitely want to point out my favorite beer that I had there that I had never had before. Obviously, the 2S Pills, the Delco Lager, they're regulars and they're staples in my beer cabinet. I had a coconut plunge, and it was a coconut beer. It was actually quite
Interesting.
delicious.
Interesting.
Yeah, I was really impressed. Their Imperial Pumpkin was good, as is always with their seasonals. But their coconut plunge really impressed me, and I'm really happy that I tried it. I ended up going with I think 3 of those. So
You were feeling tropical.
I was feeling tropical. It warmed me up, and I was right back to summer. So
Beautiful.
good times. So that's beer. That's our little beer segment of the week, and keep on drinking. Stay thirsty, right? I don't want to
Yeah, I
infringe on
think,
any.
Drink responsibly.
Okay, so definitely want to
always enjoy responsibly.
definitely want to try to hit up some breweries around the area. I mean, we definitely have some of the good ones in Delaware. Dogfish Head. Old
Spent
Dominion's
some time
one
out
of
this summer.
Old Dominion is one of my favorite. I've never been to the brewery itself, but like one of my favorite, I guess we could say, brands of beer. Yards up in Philadelphia, and obviously
Sure.
Victory's
big
maybe
one.
my favorite. Period.
Yeah.
I mentioned there's some around Phoenixville. Stable 12 is a pretty good place.
Yeah, very lucky to be in the Northeast with the beer scene.
Right. Could venture as far out, at least in PA, as I would say Hershey, Pennsylvania, where Trogs is.
Absolutely.
Perpetual.
Maybe a time for some Mad Elf to still be around. Huh?
Yeah. There's a few breweries out there out towards York and Hershey. So
I think you guys are hearing our itinerary for the next couple months here.
yeah, it's
Different places we'll be going and giving reviews on.
getting pretty excited. We're really good BS. We're really good beer and sports. But you know what else? We're people. We're humans, and we watch a lot of TV and movies.
Yeah, we do.
Media
Media junkies.
A lot of media
We will.
going on, right?
I mean, it's Halloween. It's obvious.
It
It's
is.
that time of year.
It's that time of year. It's my second favorite time of the year.
Behind?
Xmas.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's behind the only holiday that it's actually behind, right?
But I believe, speaking of Halloween, a new movie just came out.
A new movie did just come out.
We actually went to go see it last night.
We sure did.
The new Halloween, which
Yeah.
is the direct sequel
The
to
first-
Halloween.
Yeah.
It's actually, it wasn't terrible. Definitely something to go watch.
I'm gonna disagree with you. That may be the worst movie I've ever seen.
Definitely took all with it being the direct sequel, pretty much everything from Halloween 2 all the way up to Halloween Resurrection. Completely wiped out.
Yeah.
What they did do though was they did pay a lot of homage to those movies, so they kind of
did. Yeah.
pull pick pieces here, pick pieces there, kind of do what kind of playing on nostalgia, which definitely seems to be a trend in movies the past 10, 15 years. But again, just for your campy horror movie, something we haven't gotten in, Christ, since 2013 maybe.
Been a while with the remakes, yeah.
And this is something that just to get things going again. I very thoroughly enjoyed it. Funny story for you. Guess who one of the writers was on that movie?
I don't know.
Bob Dole?
Was not Bob Dole, nor was it Bob Vila. Danny McBride.
Wow, Danny McBride. He's a Renaissance man. That Danny.
Yeah,
McBride.
I actually found it. I was looking into some of the things there. They also brought James Cameron back to work on the score. So it was a hodgepodge. It was a lot of old with the new with the old. And obviously Jamie Lee Curtis was back.
Yeah, she, not to give too much away, but she played a deranged psycho who was terrorized 40 years ago and never got over it.
Yeah, it's pretty much as if the final girl grows up. In movies, these things.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was definitely an interesting movie. I was pretty frustrated by it. I'm a big fan of the hack slash. There's nothing more confusing than a timeline for the hack and slash movies when they try to shoehorn all these things in.
Listen, it's a murderer. He kills.
He never shot in the head, and he sits right back up.
That's really all you need to know about. That's it. That's what you need to know about these movies.
The omission of Dr. Loomis is definitely depressing.
It is,
but I wasn't a fan of the movie. I wasn't impressed. Take that how you will. Go see it yourself. See what you think. Jake obviously liked it.
Enjoyed it.
So
definitely something else that we've all been kind of talking about. Netflix, Haunting of Hill House. Finished the series Saturday night. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. Not to pimp it out too well, not to give anything away. It starts off a little slow, first 2 or 3 episodes, but man, does it. Once it gets going, you don't want to stop. Definitely a movie to watch, or a TV show to watch.
Yeah, I'm actually in my late 20s, and I don't think anything scared me in quite some time. And oh man, I couldn't believe that a TV show scared me. I'm actually on episode 5, which is titled "The Bent Neck Lady," which is just a scary title. But yeah, I'm really excited about the show. A lot of times with scary stuff, I get kind of frustrated because it doesn't live up to my standards.
Yeah.
But Netflix, again, has knocked it out of the park.
Something with these types of movies, there's always a great first act, a great setup. There's a great second act. And then the ending falls flat. The third act just comes through. You're about, going into the second act now. It's a fantastic thing, but the ending is nailed. The play, it lands. It's a complete series. It's just it's a story beginning to end. Something that I definitely recommend everybody go check out.
Yeah, I echo that sentiment.
Say a couple names that I recognize. I don't know anyone else in the cast, but you have Carla Gugino.
She's fantastic.
She was the main chick with Pauly Shore and Son-in-Law, if people remember that. She's also in Sin City. She plays Mickey Rourke's lawyer, who's a lesbian and stuff, and whatever. And then Henry Thomas, if people remember, is the little boy from E.T. Elliot.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
I'm taking it back.
Everyone else I don't know, so there's that.
I mean, it is a pretty good cast. They do a good job, especially the children in that show. They are phenomenal actors.
On.
Much like Netflix nailed with Stranger Things, these kids are great actors at such a young age. It's pretty marvelous, actually. Thinking overall though, I'm sitting here thinking, it is that time of the year. Why don't we just throw out our favorite Halloween movie if we could?
Absolutely.
It could be the actual Halloween series. It could just be a general Halloween film.
So you mean a Halloween movie or just a scary movie in general?
Yeah, a scary movie in general.
So just a horror movie, okay.
Yeah. What do you think, Wade? You got anything? Anything come to mind?
I've always been a fan of Nightmare on Elm Street.
The Robert Englund, right?
Yes,
not that
Robert,
remake
of course,
that
not the,
pretended to be a movie.
Whatever this
is there
new thing is.
Stuff is.
I'm a huge fan of the Saw franchise. Saw 2 is one of my favorites. The Murder House is definitely. I enjoy Saw 2. I love it.
Yeah, I'm a glutton for punishment. So I actually liked the Insidious series.
Oh,
I am a fan.
I saw the first one. I didn't think it was great.
Yeah, it is what it is. I happen to like it. But I do also want to give a shout out to Halloween Resurrection back in 2002, just literally for the line that Busta Rhymes hits. Get scoot, skedaddle. I'll never get over that. It was the greatest thing ever. So, got to give some love to Halloween Resurrection.
I mean, if I had to, it's kind of tough because I'm a big horror fan. But, I definitely agree with Wade. I love Nightmare on Elm Street, most of them. The remake, I don't acknowledge as existing pretty much, but I love the original probably the most. Number 3 is probably up there as well. I've met Robert Englund and Heather Langenkamp, who played Nancy, the original Scream Queen of that movie. But I also love Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Sure.
Yeah.
Friday the 13th.
Absolutely.
The Halloween series is great. But if I gotta go with scary movies, I'm gonna go with probably Hellraiser.
Don't mind the dogs in the background. I'm having a meltdown.
Hellraiser is.
Speaking of raising hell.
not even just like it freaks you out, and there's just some pretty sick imagery that if you're into that kind of thing, it's pretty great. Especially in the second one, where there's a guy who's like sort of like hallucinating maggots and like kind of like cutting into his skin.
Yeah.
And, like it's pretty gruesome if you're into that kind of thing. But that's my taste.
Skedaddle.
Yeah, skedaddle. Yeah, I mean, we all love it. It's a great time of year. Again, in my personal humble opinion, I think it's the second best time of year. Obviously, Christmas is great, and I
think we'll get into that in about 2 months.
it's effectively October 23rd. It's time to decorate. My wife would argue with me.
Is it the second most wonderful time of the year?
It is the most one. Oh, Halloween, yeah.
And Christmas
second
for you
most.
is coming up in about a
Thanksgiving
week.
doesn't really exist, but yeah, it goes Christmas one,
Listen,
Halloween two.
It's just a big meal. You eat.
Yeah, you just eat some food.
Yeah, love food.
It's whatever.
Or as Jake calls it,
We're a little pressed on time.
Breakfast.
What do we think, guys? Does anyone have anything else they want to go off their chest? How are we feeling? Episode 1.
it's pretty good. I mean,
Cover a lot of bases.
Jake, did you want to cover what you were thinking as far as doing video game stuff? I mean, I know you.
We'll get into that when we get
All right,
Okay,
so
fair
We'll cross that bridge when we get
definitely want to shout out. We're going to look forward to. We have a fantasy football league we're all in together. I want to point out that Jake was our resident low scorer for the actual. I think the past 3 weeks.
It's been bad.
Especially
It's been pretty bad. Live by
bad.
the Jags, die by the Jags, aka die by the Jags.
9 of my players are Jacksonville, so
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
great draft. It's a great draft.
So Jake is going to attempt a field goal at the local high school, and should he not make it, he's going to have to do the "In My Feelings" dance that Drake did.
Can't wait.
That little viral. We're a little behind it, but I think it would just be hilarious to see Jake do it. And I don't think he'll make the field goal, so I can't wait to see that happen. I'm really excited.
I got big legs.
He's got big legs. Big legs means big field goal. So, if nothing else from our host here, we got Bill, we got Wade, we got Jake. I'm Dylan, the host, co-host. I want to thank you for joining us.
Anytime.
All right, Jake,
Absolutely.
you want to thank the fans?
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thankful for you guys.
Thanks for listening to us.
Episode 1, we had a good time here.
Thanks for being here.
And that's it from Really Good
Thank
BS. Thanks a lot.